Becky from Living Options Devon. We're here today to talk about accessibility, what accessible activities are out there in Devon, and to raise some awareness on spinal cord injuries and various other disabilities. We're here today to talk to Casey. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. So we know that you had your mountain biking injury last year in 2021. Can you tell us what impact that's had on your mobility?
Yeah, so before I was really active, loved mountain biking, yoga, my whole life was active. And when I had my accident, I was instantly paralysed from here down, T8 level on my thoracic spine. And yeah, so I can't move my legs at all or my feet. I don't have any core function. I've regained the tiniest bit, but it's not very functional. So none of my core, and it's also affected bladder, bowels. That's all part of it. So that's been impaired as well.
And how can you talk us through like what happened?
Yeah. So in April last year, I was on my downhill bike, and I came off a jump or a drop about this high, and I landed on my head. Came over the handlebars, landed on my head, and my back carried on going with the bike, and the bike stayed clipped and attached to me, and it just, yeah, it broke my back in half basically. Landed on my head, and there was an instant feeling of an electric shock all the way through my body, and straight away I couldn't feel my legs, and just knew that I'd broken my back. Straight away I knew what was coming as soon as I felt that, because it was nothing like I'd felt before.
It's very scary. I can imagine incredibly scary.
Oh yeah, it was awful, and I just knew everyone was trying to calm me down, but I just knew.
Yeah. And obviously you're on your awesome bit of kit here today. Can you kind of talk us through how you've managed to remain so positive and how you've managed to get back on the bike, and talk us through like what kind of support was out there for you and how you've just managed to remain so positive about the whole thing?
Well, at first I was really not positive at all. It was during COVID as well, so I had this news that I'd never walk again, and then instantly was in isolation for weeks on end, and I could see my partner for 1 hour a day, and that was it. So at the start, I didn't know about adaptive bikes, I didn't know about adaptive anything, and I just thought, that's it, my life's over. I was so down. Um, and that was like the first couple of weeks. And then when I came out of isolation, and I just remember going into the garden and smelling the flowers and seeing all of these colours, and just being like really grateful for everything that I'd been kept away from, even just sitting in a wheelchair and being able to move myself around rather than lying on my back looking at the ceiling. Everything just felt amazing. And I think that's where things turned. And then people reached out to me. My story went on social media, and then other people that had accidents reached out to me and told me about adaptive bikes, adaptive yoga. And then I got a visit from a couple of people that had already had an injury whilst I was in Salisbury. One of them was a guy called Jack Sims from Adaptive Sports, and he was a hand cyclist, so he told me about getting back on the bike and stuff. And yeah, it was, and I'd already planned, this is a bowhead reach, and I'd already planned to get back on this when I was in there. I'd already planned that was my little mission, and that kept me going when I was in there.
And obviously your love for mountain biking hasn't changed since having an accident on a mountain bike. You still feel like you've got that love for it?
Yeah, my dad, my mum, my brother have always mountain biked, so as a family we've always done it. My partner does it as a job, and that's his love, so yeah, there wasn't really another option for me. When it happened, at first I thought, I don't want to see a bike again, I don't want to be on a bike, be near bikes. And I had some counselling when I was in Salisbury, and he helped me get through it and said, you are going to see bikes, you are going to be around it, so just take your time to introduce it again. Because at first I unfollowed all social media accounts to do with biking, didn't want to know. And then switched it, and when I came out really early on, I went back to the place I had my accident because they held a race there for me
Oh wow,
as a
that's
fundraiser,
amazing.
and I took part in the race on this.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, it's still a big part of my life.
Yeah. And what do you love most about mountain biking?
I just really like being in the woods
Yeah.
and that freedom that the bike gives me.
Yeah.
That's always been my favourite part of mountain biking. It's
Yeah.
just been going out and exploring.